I'm lost. This is a Metroidvania, the type of game where players put themselves through a gauntlet of vastness and confusion. To some people, this is fun. Others, it's torture. Hi, I'm Monkey in a Barrel, and I fall in the latter. Getting lost in video games has always been a fear of mine. There's a reason I've never gotten the Master Sword. Getting lost in video games is a weird feeling. I don't like it. But that's what games like Breath of the Wild and Hollow Knight take advantage of me. Either it be complex storylines, developers' intent, or unintentional signs that point you in the wrong way, being lost is emotion that's felt with about every video game, like Sonic Mania.
Sonic, where do I go? What? Oh my, oh!
At the end of the day, video games are about problem solving. But what happens when there's a wall between the problem and the solving? When you can overcome these obstacles and find a new discovery, it's magical. Or, I could look up a guide on IGN. Sign me up. But some companies exploit people's confusion and make a game series about it. Uh-huh! Would I be able to play a game that takes advantage of this emotion?
Mario! Mario!
After the large success of the NES and Super Mario Bros., a Nintendo employee under the name of Kiyotake decided to make something different.
The challenge is Metroid. The power is Nintendo. Defend the planet Xephus against the evil Mother Brain.
He looked at Mario Bros. And said, let's not do that. So he made a game that was less linear and straightforward, and dark in tone, opposed to the bright and colorful Mario Bros. Metroid, the series where I thought Master Chief was a Nintendo property. As a kid, I don't know what this was. I'd point to Ridley and ask if he was a Skylander. The only time I ever heard of Metroid was,
Die! No!
Teddy, stop! Teddy,
Die!
Teddy, get on me! Teddy, get on me! Teddy, get on me!
so I have no prior knowledge of the franchise. For most of my gamer life, I tried steering clear of Metroidvanias, leaning more towards the straightforward titles.
Oh, it's an umbrella!
Oh no, it's not an umbrella! It's not an umbrella!
I should have known this wasn't Frogger. Although recently, I've been trying to diversify my gaming palette away from just Mario games. I swear it's only a hobby. The original Metroid was full of this. Woo! Woo!
Ow, hey, bad guy.
It introduced the character Samus, revealing at the end of the game she was a woman. In a medium at the time predominated by men mascots, this was pretty progressive. Kiyotake! Yeah, because apparently the only thing that would motivate players to play this mess was 8-bit lust. While the original Metroid isn't bad, it's hard to replay now with all the upgrades that have come to the genre. I've also tried playing Super Metroid, but... Huh. Oh! You're supposed to shoot 5 missiles at the door! Super Metroid is definitely an important game. It created the Metroidvania concept as we know it today, but it does have its proper share of problems. It's dated in its cryptic level design, and also has a bit of a harsh curve to newcomers. After Super Metroid, the franchise has evolved with its storytelling and world building, revealing bits and pieces of things happening behind the main plot. None of which I understand, but one title holds infamous immortality among game forums everywhere. Metroid Dread. You see, this game was leaked to be a sequel to Metroid Fusion, but now in the new and more powerful DS hardware. Yeah, that didn't happen. Instead, we got pinball. I think I like this better than Super Metroid. Eventually, the game was confirmed by Kiyotake in an interview, where he described it as only in development stage and early prototype modes. All those leakers now must look pretty stupid.
What? Not Fortnite. Not Fortnite. What?
After this pivotal moment, you'd expect my reaction to be Metroid, but my actual reaction was, what's a Metroid? It's been 19 years from the last original entry in the series, unless they're counting remakes. The reason for this, explained by Kiyotake, was the hardware wasn't powerful enough to show off his full vision. Yeah right, look at Federation Force, you could put it on there! All hope of this game ever existing was lost before Mercury Steam. Samus Returns was the title that reignited the Metroid spark, reinventing Metroid 2 and adapting it to modern day with completely new features and bosses. But I haven't played this title yet. I'll put this down in my pile of game recommendations. Although I have to play Jelly Boy first. It's gotta be in the Constitution somewhere. Metroid fans everywhere went hype after this announcement. Would Metroid Dread match the hype of its upcoming release? Or fall flat from overhype of a dead franchise? Without further ado, let's pop in the game. That's the title! Metroid Dread starts with a cinematic of Samus bursting the planet ZDR aboard a ship with a misogynistic AI.
We are lost assets with care, lady.
Really? Where a fatal parasite called the X is located, and it's Samus' job to destroy it. Samus is only left with her arm cannon and power suit in the dark depths of ZDR. The player immediately understands the goal: escape. Can I just say this game looks gorgeous? God of War, throw that to the side.
Boy.
The models, the lighting, the animation. Dread eases through these beautifully choreographed cutscenes that makes most third-party titles look like 3-year-olds' flipbooks. The posing is also amazing. Samus is fast but still retains those contact frames that feel like a soldier's paced run. And the fact it's running 60 frames per second on a Switch? Breath of the Wild is getting envious. But how's the gameplay? That might have not been the solution. I love when it does that. Samus can dab. I don't see Link doing the Macarena. It's so funny. Due to new fundamental changes, Samus can freely aim without snapping to 2 positions. I'll save him medical bills. The speed and flow of gameplay is like butter. You can't wash it off your hands.
It's not coming off.
Atmosphere. Dread establishes its tone pretty early.
Oh, what nice claws you have.
Please. Okay, let's try that again. Take 2.
One second, I'll get him. Maybe he'll die. I don't know if this is gonna work. You know what? This is not gonna.
I'm pretty sure other people reacted the same way, so I made a counter to it. The music, sound design, enemies, and environments create this dreading atmosphere. Standing still lingers this feeling of isolation. Samus' dedication to destroy this parasite is reflected by no idle animations. Backgrounds are gritty, filled with great color scheming and details that flesh out the world. The backgrounds are a whole way of storytelling. Who's that?
Oh, I know what it is now.
Backtracking. This word is divisive, but an integral part of the Metroid franchise. There were a few times where I thought I had to backtrack, and 2 hours go by.
The floor was breakable. That's funny.
Still, with backtracking, this game maintains forward momentum. When you do backtrack, the whole area is flipped on its head. It's like earlier, but cold now! The pacing of this game is quite honestly perfect. The problem solving and reward basis is just amazing. Let's talk Emmys, and no, not the dairy company. The Emmy are such a great enemy. When Kiyotake made this game, he wanted them to be witty and scary. They're a mechanical robot sent by the Galactic Federation to destroy the X-Parasite, and Samus, for an unknown reason, you know, it felt like it that day. They have this hunched, powerful look to them, and they can contort more than Pennywise. I sure hope they come in green. Emmys are such a fun enemy, a robot of no soul, destroying everything in its path, a solitary reflection of what Samus could be without her humanity. This idea is instilled in Samus and is what motivates her final decision in the game. It's a way of storytelling within game design, which is what video games are all about. Other than metaphorical significance, these things are terrifying. This haunting search music drones while you have to makeshift a way around these small detection systems and then make a way to escape. And then once you're spotted... Enemies are also horrifying because none of Samus's weapons work on them. You have to kill a brain and absorb its temporary power to destroy an enemy, which creates one last satisfying scare while trying to destroy them. Or what the developers thought, because I couldn't figure out how to kill them. The game introduces ways to escape the enemies from your first encounter, which is a hard input to pull off. Only I immediately learned how to do this and started bullying all the enemies. Which took away some of their horrific splendor. This game takes an gnarly left twist that shakes up gameplay and keeps you on your toes. The game breaks its formula to stop repetitive gameplay and speed up certain places, which keeps the momentous pace. My main complaint being that the trek between rooms got a little easy in the latter half of the game. After plenty of upgrades, namely the screw attack, enemies died like flies. A new enemy would appear looking like a fun boss battle and oh, I just hit it twice in the back and it dies. Take a fun platforming challenge. Oh look, I can jump over all of that. I understand this gives rewarding progression, but it tarnishes the on your toes fear factor, removing health management and resources with encounters. Should I attack? Too risky. When I find this guy, do I look out for his parry? Many other games fall into this trap. After long segments of engaging gameplay, the player gets upgrades or weapons that overhauls its systems that it's been building up to. To me, this is what Breath of the Wild turned into. The once towering and massing guardians are now ragdolls. The bokoblins and moblins are now annoying obstacles. In Dread, this especially takes away harm from the X-parasites, as now, boop, you're dead. Also, the abilities to hide and outmaneuver the enemies felt wasted. I only used a few power-ups a few times. Although the final area takes advantages of most of these powers. And the final two bosses test your familiarity with these abilities, forcing you to figure out on the fly what upgrades to use. I was expecting the Dark Souls of Metroid, but this game was very approachable to a newcomer. For example, after dying to a boss, you spawn in front of the boss room, instead of your last save. Same goes for the enemies. I still don't know where to classify this. A modernization to stay with the new Metroidvania fan, or a handicap for players making the game more easy. Other titles in the genre have also been trying to resolve this issue. Hollow Knight creates manual saves at benches similar to Super Metroid, but also saves before boss fights. But to make dying in the game have weight, they created a system where if the player dies, they lose all their money. I'm sorry we couldn't give you your inheritance, he died, so that made the money die too.
I see. Back to the coal mine.
This is unless you kill your shadow spirit. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a pretty poor piggy bank. The messenger takes a similar approach to this, as when you die, an angry fairy goblin revives you in return for money. That's where they get you. Possibly somewhat due to this, the part of the game that was most difficult to me was the puzzle. While combat provided challenge, it was not where my mind was racing. The bosses were great, proving to be difficult while still motivating me to go forward. They're not designed in the fully rage-inducing way of, say, Cuphead, but it's clear the developers intended you to die a few times to learn their patterns. When parrying a boss and entering a player-controlled cutscene of absolutely demolishing the beast is truly exhilarating. Speaking of unmeasurable exhilaration, hard mode. This is great for a second playthrough. While playing a game for the first time, players are filled with wonder and curiosity, but on second playthrough, much of that is gone. To keep a semblance of that wonder alive, players have altered how they play a game, either that be a Nuzlocke, speedrun, or challenge, all of which Metroid games have done since the beginning, incentivizing players to make a second playthrough, now knowing where everything is, to complete it in record time. Ingeniously, this game philosophy makes the game completely fresh on a second or even third time. Metroid Dread holds up against the best Metroidvanias of today. Once you think it's shown you everything, it hasn't. It introduces twists and changes the game to keep it addictively awesome. I couldn't put this game down. It's prevalent that this game was brewing in the minds of Nintendo over 2 decades. Every move is streamlined, parries and tight controls gives this game a snappy feel, power-ups are introduced before previous upgrades get stale, repeatedly refreshing the game, making players take a look on environments new and old with new light. Truly, this game is a masterclass in game design, holding poise even and above its new counterparts. Metroid Dread proves why the series is so beloved and why a whole genre of games was created by it. Based off my experience with Metroid Dread, I might give Super Metroid a second try. What What the? It's been 3 minutes!